First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak again today. Chris, it's great to have you guys promote not only opportunity zones, but really Puerto Rico. I see a lot of familiar faces and new faces. 2.5 years ago, I remember meeting with Maria de Los Angeles from Grant Thornton talking about opportunity zones, and here we are. We're working together, and I'm really happy to see more funds. For me, it's critical that we have a lot of opportunity zone funds and fund managers here in Puerto Rico, because that's what's going to give investors confidence. It's also great participating in this type of forum because normally we spend most of our time talking about Puerto Rico. So, thank you for the presentation earlier today, Nate. We talk about legal and compliance, and we talk about opportunity zones. So again, Maria de Los Angeles, thank you for that. And then we also end up talking a lot about opportunity zone businesses. So Corey, you're always a hard person to follow, but I'm glad that we get to do this again. Very briefly, this is not an offer to sell. If you guys are interested, there's a private placement memorandum and we can make that available. My goal is not to repeat a lot of the content that was done earlier today. So some slides, I'm going to go a little bit faster. Everybody talked about Puerto Rico in general. We talked about the damage of the hurricane. But for me, this is actually represents an opportunity. And the opportunity zone legislation, I thought was something that we should try to take advantage and promote. So that's the goal when I moved here 2.5 years ago. The goal was to find a way to bring that capital to help rebuild Puerto Rico, but also to make change. And that's critical for us and what we're trying to achieve. Basically, my background, I've been in private equity and investment banking for over 25 years. But more importantly, over the last few years, I was working on Puerto Rico deals. And as things get tougher in Puerto Rico, large companies that have opportunities to invest across the US or even globally tend to retrench. And that's what I found. As Puerto Rico needs more capital, some of those investors that usually would be there rather go somewhere else. So we made a commitment. Oh, sorry about that noise. We made a commitment to Puerto Rico, and it was difficult. One of the first things we did is start a firm, obviously, and that firm was really trying to do alternative asset management and start a fund, an opportunity zone fund, private equity, and also on multiple assets. The history of opportunity zone investment has been mostly real estate, and there's many reasons for that. But also, I think in Puerto Rico, there is a great opportunity to invest in operating businesses as well. We organized the Puerto Rico Opportunity Zone Fund, basically to address that need. We had our first investor committed in March, and now we're fully fundraising and hope to close our first deal. We're trying to bring global experience and local presence. So being here on the island, minority owned, and also impact investing. ESG is kind of a buzzword these days, but it's true. It's not just impact from a financial perspective, but it's also impact from an environmental perspective. So we're trying to put all of those together into an opportunity zone fund. You already heard a lot about opportunity zones and opportunity zone funds, but I think in terms of Puerto Rico, one of the key issues is the point that I highlight here. The regulations only came out in October of 2020. So that made it very difficult for anybody that was trying to really do a fund in Puerto Rico or focus on Puerto Rico to be active on the market. There was ways to do it, but at the end of the day, without that regulation being issued, there was a lot of risk and also speculations about exactly how the program will work. I won't go over the benefits in any details, but really there's three main benefits: the initial deferral of your capital gains tax, basically a free loan that you can get from the Puerto Rico or the federal government to invest that capital through the end of 2026. That free loan, you can also get some principal that they will forgive if you invest before the end of this year and hold that for at least 5 years. So that's a great free loan, 0% interest, and 10% of that can be actually forgiven. There is certainly a risk that capital gains go up and you have to pay that capital gains higher tax in the future. But if you do that, then the third benefit is even that much more valuable, right? That's the benefit of after 10 years, all that capital appreciation, you can avoid paying capital gains tax. So that's basically a quick summary. I'm not going to go about the law and the legislation that got this approved because many people have done that, but we can answer any other questions. We do have the benefit of Puerto Rico that most of it qualifies as an opportunity zone region. Basically the census tracts, and basically you see 98, 95%, depending on the, you're talking about the territory versus census tracts. I think the other point about the Puerto Rico law that it did, Maria Los Angeles talked about this, is that allowed Puerto Rican investors to actually also have this tax benefit by adopting the US law. That's critical, and that's one of the things that we were focused on. We wanted to create a fund where both US and Puerto Rican investors could participate and achieve that benefit. I'm not going to go into all of the details about how it works, but you guys understand that the investors have to invest in a fund. It could be your own fund, so you don't have to invest through a fund manager. And you have about 180 days from when you generated the gain. And then the fund has 180 days to invest in a qualified opportunity zone business, stock, or partnership. Now, this does create some issues of timing, which is something that if you're looking at investing and also as an investor or as an opportunity zone fund manager, is one of the challenges that you have to address. But let's talk about the Puerto Rico Opportunity Zone Fund itself. What we're trying to do is be the first private equity fund focused on ESG investing in Puerto Rico. Private equity in Puerto Rico under a separate tax incentive was really meant to provide local Puerto Rican investors a tax benefit. That's a separate industry. We didn't want to go that way. We really wanted to try to attract both US and Puerto Rican investment together into the fund. We're seeking $20 million for an initial fund. And as of today, we do have we're going to be closing hopefully before the end of the week on our first investment in a $500,000 investment, which I'll cover briefly. Our goal is to invest in sustainable businesses, renewable energy and infrastructure. And we will be taking board seats on each one of our investments. The whole idea is that we will provide value and we will help these companies grow with our experience. The other point is we're going to try to maximize capital gains. That's for me, one of the key drivers here. If people want a product that provides yield, that provides cash flow, I would recommend that they look at other products. For me, this is a way to diversify into private equity, but also get tax advantage over the life of the investment. We partner with best in class, given the fact that one, we're a first time fund, but two, we wanted to make sure that what we do can serve as a role model for other companies and other fund managers. So, we've been working with Maria and Grant Thornton for a while now, DLA Piper as a legal law firm that does both US and Puerto Rican tax. Very important since this is a US law at the end of the day that you have to manage. And then we have JTC as our fund administrator. That was key for us because of the compliance and also because of the startup nature. We wanted to have all of the compliance reporting all done by a third party to be as transparent as possible. I'm not going to talk about the Puerto Rico, why Puerto Rico. We've heard a lot about that, but talking about the local incentives of Puerto Rico is a key part of what opportunity zone investors from the US can take advantage of as well. Very briefly, one of the big benefits of opportunity zones is the incremental tax advantage. I'm not going to go into the calculation. If you guys are interested, we can talk about that later. I really wanted to focus on our first investment. I'm very excited to be investing in a company that is doing lithium-ion battery energy storage systems and components. They design them and they get them actually done in China and imported into Puerto Rico. And the idea is in the future to try to assemble that in Puerto Rico. They're really addressing the commercial and industrial market and the residential market. This is done by a founder, an engineer that has been in the business for over 10 years, installing systems and selling competitor products. And they wanted to come up with a better product that addressed not only the local market, but they're also in Latin America, they're in Florida, and they're expecting to expand to California. Very briefly, these are the products. It's very simple. It's a battery, it's an inverter, and then putting it all together into an energy storage system. So what I liked about this was the ability of simple. There's a huge need in Puerto Rico, and the issue of labor is going to be a critical point. The ability to have an all-in energy system storage would allow people to install this faster. It's almost like a plug and play. It also allows you to go into people that has solar system but did not have a battery storage system, which is a lot of the previous installations pre-Maria. I know I'm running out of time, so I just wanted to talk very briefly. You can see here some of the competitor products and some of the key benefits of the system that has been designed by SUNBEAT Energy. They do have the app, which allows people to actually monitor and manage the energy storage system. But I think what is also extremely important is they allow to get generators. Many people in Puerto Rico have generators, and not all of the energy storage system allows you to interconnect a generator into the system. I think that's going to be key for Puerto Rico and the Puerto Rican consumer. This is a company that is already cash flow positive after the first year, but they need growth capital as they are expanding into the Puerto Rico and abroad. We have an LOI executed with them, and we are hoping, like I mentioned, to close on the first $500,000 in the next couple of days. And then we have an opportunity to invest an incremental $1 million. This is basically done at a $10 million post-money valuation. We've done due diligence for over 4 months, and we're very comfortable with the investment opportunity. We talked already about tax incentives, but this is key. They do have a Puerto Rico Act 83, now under Act 60, that provides significant tax incentives. Our second project that we're going to be doing, and we have also a letter of intent, is a company that's focused on solving the sargassum issue, basically the seaweed that you see on all of our beaches here in Puerto Rico, bigger issue in Mexico. And this company has been at this for a number of years. They're already here in Puerto Rico. I've been working with them for over a year. And the idea is to try to invest when they build their biorefinery here on the island. They're also going to have a manufacturing tax incentive, which is key, and all of those are going to be overlaid. We are a Delaware partnership that will be taxed as a corporation, and we're going to basically have all of these investments in companies that have tax decrees, and they will pay their own corporate income tax in Puerto Rico and make distributions to the fund after they make their tax payments. This is structured as a traditional private equity fund. Here are the terms and conditions of the fund. There's also more background information at the end of the presentation about renewable energy in Puerto Rico, and about opportunity zones. So that's available. I know that I just ran out of time, so I wanted to stop there. And if there's any questions or anything that I can help on, I could do that. And I'll also be speaking in about an hour about the experience in putting all this together. So there will be more of a Q&A during that section as well. Thank you.
Jose, thank you, and for being, ready in an hour to kind of peel back the layers so that we can all even understand a bit more in detail about the fund aspect of all this. And appreciate that. It's amazing. And I want to thank you again for being a part of all of this live session, Osworks group, Porto Zone, everything that we've been doing. So you're doing it, man. You're making moves, and it's a really positive thing for the island.